who are the largest growing demographic of secular humanist thinkers, and yet are also, and I've experienced this myself in university and social circles in my teenage years, a growing feeling of sort of of disillusionment with democracy and the idea that these things are trivial. It's a very disturbing correlation that those demographics coexist.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And it's a pretty, I think it's a very important point to focus on how that's happening.
Yes.
Yes, I came here tonight. I was under the impression that you were going to tell us how we can get our secular humanist viewpoint on TVO. And I'd like to see some nuts and bolts, okay? Never mind the philosophy. I want to see, give me your business card or give me some way that we can show you some programs that the American Atheists have produced. I don't see too much of that on TVO. Or the American Humanist Association. They have programs that they can put on. Just give me your business card and I'll hook you up.
Well, listen, the TV, you think my business card, TV Ontario is a publicly visible institution.
Okay. So just go to the website.
They are licensing, there are people who deal with buying programs. I'm not one of them. I only produce programs for TV Ontario. The fact that you want nuts and bolts advice suggests a kind of impatience, which I find kind of interesting, because I sense that this impatience is something that many of you share, and I'm not quite passion. I don't quite understand why it is, because as I said, I think you are fish swimming in very familiar waters, and you don't think that. Which is very interesting, something that I need to kind of grapple with, because I don't quite understand.
You take my TV guide and you show me a program that says atheism.
Well, but that's the thing.
Or secularism.
I think you hung up on the word.
I'm hung up on the subject.
No, you hung up on the word. You hung up on the idea, on the concept. I would say every single Sunday, every single sports game is atheism in action.
I wouldn't.
Well, I would.
I'm not interested in sports.
Well, but that does not mean that atheism is not absolutely present every single day on every single channel. It's only
you mean by watching a sports program? I'm watching an atheist program.
Yes, I mean because I'm talking about because let's understand. I'm talking about an atheist programming is a programming about any subject that doesn't presume the presence of God. That's it. Any program that does not presume the presence of God is an atheist program. Yes, it is. You want atheism to be spelled out, but that's something completely different. You want what most people want. People, as I said before, people want familiarity. People want to see themselves reflected on the television screen. That's when they know they're being loved. Television is a narcissistic medium. Whether you're in the studio or in front of the screen, everybody wants to see their mirror image in it and say, "This is me. Look at me. How smart I am."
No, I just want the subject matter.
No. You want more than that. You want to see yourself reflected on television, and which is understandable. We all do. We all do. This is the essential quality of any person sitting in front of a television set, going to a theater, going to a movie. We all want to see ourselves. We want to see a mirror image. When you ask the question, what can be done for organizations that produce atheist programming, quote unquote, and how to get them on TV Ontario, it's very simple. They know what TVO is. If they don't know what TVO, you tell them about it. And there are people who are in the business of buying programs. And so you take a DVD, you take a tape, you send it and say, "We want to sell this to you." This is how television works. And then the question is this good programming? Is this well done? Is this compelling television? It's not whether it represents the right set of views. It's not about that. It's like nobody. I can assure you, Nobody's going to buy it just because it has a label of atheist on it. That's for sure. That's for sure. The label doesn't sell. The label atheist does not sell. The brand atheist is not a selling brand. It's not a horrible brand. It's not something that people absolutely will reject out of hand. It's not like saying fascist, you know, or racist. No, by no means. But it's a neutral brand. It's not, nobody jumps up for joy, you know, nobody who's buying television programs jumps for joy because an atheist organization has sent them a tape, you know, of a series of programs, and they would like for the network to be able to show. And I'm trying to convey to you something about whether or not brandishing the label of atheism is going to help your cause. I'm trying to persuade you of the fact that that is that.
The impression you want us to pander to religion.
Sorry?
You want us to pander.
No, I want you to understand that religion is a challenge. That religious past is a challenge to people who came after it, and have to take seriously the fact that it existed before it. You cannot just nullify it. You can't just make it go away. It won't go away. Sorry?
It will with education.
Oh my
What is
God.
TVO doing specifically about 09, the 200th and the 150th? And if you don't know what I'm talking about,
No idea what you're talking about.
how about Mr. Darwin, okay? How about the origin of species?
Yes.
It's the 200th anniversary of 09, and it's 200 of his birth, and 150th the origin of species. Does TVO have any plans to do any programs on that?
Not that I know of, but I'm quite sure that if other organizations, and I'm quite sure there are those who are planning lectures and talks on the subject, and the fact that we have a program called Big Ideas, you know, will be there to tape and to show and to absolutely. But it's not. I mean, you see, the thing is, you have to understand. TVO is not an organization that is going to produce. Agenda will not produce a program. We will invite evolutionary psychologists, evolutionary historians, evolutionary thinkers to debate with religious people, you know, whether or not evolution is the correct take on our history vis-a-vis claims that are made by people who are into intelligent design. TVO will not do that. TVO will not give room to people of the other side to claim that they have an equal claim on our attention. In that sense, TVO is an atheist network. It will not engage the others in a debate because this is not a debate we care to have, because we are not going to create an impression as if it's a matter of rational discussion. Do you understand what it means for me to say that TVO is an atheist network?
No, but the point is, for instance, what's happening at ROM right now, 30 organizations refused to sponsor it because they were afraid. The Humanist Association of Canada put up $50,000, and of all people, the United States Observer put up $25,000 to support that. Now, is TVO afraid, just like those 30 people are? We don't want to debate Darwinism. It's here. It's true. It's a fact.
So,
we want to talk about it. I mean, this is the
talk
guy's
about what? Talk about what?
Well, first of all,
I mean, in order to talk about something, it must be a problem. What's the problem you want to talk about?
Problem is
What is the problem that you want to ask in order for
okay,
a program to produce around?
Why does Bayhay's book being sold in the evolution section at the Ontario Science Centre?
This is too small a question. It does not pertain to anyone. Well, you know, see, you have to understand that you cannot translate your particular take on a particular problem and try to make hundreds of thousands of people be engaged by it. You understand? I mean, there must be a way. If you want to think about how to propagate your point of view, you have to understand what it means to ask questions that are large enough, broad enough, general enough to appeal to a larger audience.
You're saying evolution doesn't appeal to
No,
people.
no, no, I'm not saying that, but the way you framed it. The way you framed it. You hung up on the particular title of a book that you think is not to be sold where it's sold.
Well, that was just a
Excuse me,
specific
could we
example.
please have anybody with questions
Yes.
line up behind the microphone so that those of us who are here get a chance to ask
Okay.
our questions without a huge debate on the same subject going for the rest of this talk?
Sorry.
It's not just, I'm addressing it to everybody in the room, not just.
No, I don't want to debate. That's not my point.
I was going to ask you about the Lord's Prayer debate in the legislature, and it seems like it's going to be a bit more hot in the media now that it's sort of coming to a close. Is the agenda going to have?
Yes.
Are you going to have an atheist on?
I'm quite sure. Good question. Who would you recommend as someone you think is the best kind of voice for your point of view? Do you have a name?
It's not me after seeing
What
you
about
speak on the stage.
Justin?
No, see, but that's the thing. I mean. The
Seriously,
question
what
is-
about Justin?
Well, yeah, obviously Justin.
He's sort of our spokesman for
I see,
everything.
but that's the thing. I mean, if you want to be visible, then you have to be fluent, you have to be energetic, you have to be entertaining, you have to be engaging, you have to
That
be
sounds
able.
like Justin.
Yeah.
That's
He's got a lot of passion.
That's what it means to be on television. You have to galvanize attention, and you planning to watch. You time to go?
Well, I wondered sometime, I hate to walk out because there's nothing.
Okay,
You
go.
Want to come and join us here?
No,
We're gonna.
he's had it.
We gotta
He
stop.
wants to go home.
The question I have actually relates a bit to what Kevin just asked, is that whenever there is something, I agree with you in the sense that we're dealing with the secular media in general programs where religion, like sports programs or entertainment, religion isn't really an issue. But whenever, and I'm not singling out TVO, but this is true across the mainstream media, is that whenever there is a subject in the news about something like stem cell research or legalizing gay marriage or censorship of books that touches upon religious ethics and religious beliefs, the secular viewpoint or the atheist viewpoint is sort of lumped in along with all the moderates who have religious beliefs, saying, well, 50% of Canadians support this, or the majority of Canadians believe this, but the Roman Catholic Church, the Muslim faith, the certain aspects of the Jewish faith, they have a problem with it, so we're going to give their views. And nobody actually ever seems to come down and say, there's 18% of the population does not believe in God, and therefore their, not religious views, but their lack of belief actually opposes this religious dogma that's, making a statement on what.
But as I said, the question is, why would we go to an atheist if the issue is gay marriage? I mean, why would atheism? Why would somebody who defines as an atheist be the person that the producer would go to? Obviously, we would go to people who are in favor of opposed or in favor, but those who are in favor would be people who are presumably gays, who would be arguing on their own behalf. And the question is, why bring the religious dimension to this? I mean, because it's a civil rights issue that is not debated. I mean, when the religious use biblical texts in order to argue for why they are opposed to it, okay, obviously the discussion is never about the nature of the text or the nature of, and of course atheists would not engage in the discussion about the meaning of the Bible, because it's not your thing, it's not so you to question the particular interpretation of the biblical text. You would argue that the religious dimension, the religious perspective, should not apply. Should be rejected out of hand because it's irrational and unimportant.
And why
We're
is
just gonna go with
and
questions.
why isn't that ever explicitly stated? Why is it simply say, people say, well, it's for human rights, or it's for, helping to cure diseases in the sense of stem cell research? Why is there never, if the religious aspects that these groups hold is specifically stated that this is the reason because of the religion, why is it never specifically stated that there was a portion of the Canadian population that their belief in this is something that they support in terms of stem cell research or gay marriage, that is tied in with the fact that they don't believe that there's a supernatural being that's going to punish us for doing it? And how, I guess my question here is, how would we be able to get that voice heard in the mainstream media? That it's specifically...
in the discussion about stem cell research, I would imagine that that this particular perspective that you has expressed would be just a 60-second intervention that will be part of something much larger. In other words, that point by itself is a very short point to make. It does not go. I mean, it would not fill the discussion because in some ways, once you say that, the discussion ends. There's nothing.
It's not even actually said. That's my point.
Well, I mean, because the bioethicists who come on to discuss stem cell research don't think that this is the most important argument they have to make about this. They will make the argument on the basis of, look at all the wonderful things that will happen if we engage in that kind of research. Not that 18% of Canadians don't believe in God, so leave me alone with your religious prejudices. What I'm saying is that argument is not a weighty argument. The weighty argument for viewers is not, I'm opposed to it because I don't believe in God. The weighty argument for the viewers is, I believe in this research because it will solve this problem. Period. These are the effective arguments. Not I deny the other side the right to their opinions because I don't share in their religious flimsy notions about how the world is constructed. Again, I'm trying to make you understand that atheism as an argument doesn't travel very far. It can be part of something, but part of something larger. It's not by itself. It's not it doesn't grab anyone.
Is that why the Chinese are atheists?
You may have noticed that the
Well,
price of...
they obviously, their atheism, I mean, they're not, they find other ways in which to create for themselves a sense of belonging, okay? Not all sense of belonging must be embedded in religion, but if you want to, entrust yourself to Chinese nationalism as that which binds and connects people, good luck to you.
But please bear in mind that this place that we are in right now is the Centre for Inquiry. It's not the House of Atheism. I think what many of us had hoped that you might speak to this evening, rather than atheism as a negative thing, and we're not interested in hearing negativity, which is mostly what you've been saying as far as I can tell, and maybe that's just because I'm listening with a very specific period of years, and I'm sure it's partly that. But please realize that we are humanists, free thinkers, interested in the power of reason, science, and free inquiry. Free inquiry, you see, which is inquiry is one of the words in the name of this place. Free inquiry has everything to do with human rights. The fact that I personally am not gay has nothing to do with my support for gay rights. I think gay rights is a matter of human rights. And free thinkers, people who have been interested in free inquiry for thousands and thousands of years, we've just been a bit less obvious perhaps on the mainstream radar than people who have strong religious beliefs. People who propose that the earth went round the sun and rather than the other way around, where, very bad things happen to persons like this. The point I'm trying to make here is, please don't assume that atheists are all we are. We have a lot to contribute, and our history as people who are interested in free inquiry is the reason why you should invite us to talk about gay marriage, to talk about stem cell research, because an expert like Justin actually has a very good idea of why free inquiry, humanism, reason, and science have everything to do with issues of human rights.
I'm trying to convey something to you. There are no programs produced about free inquiry, the goodness of free inquiry. Nobody's producing programs about the subject. This is not what we do.
Fine.
If you want to get involved, if you want to be participating in public discussions, make yourself visible because you've taken stands on gay rights, on environment, or any particular set of issues.
We haven't been doing that? I'm sorry, I haven't been paying attention, clearly.
No, I'm sorry. Not as atheists. You want attention as atheists. What I'm saying is...
I personally don't. What I'm inviting you to do is to not reject somebody's overture of interest because they're an atheist. Several times this evening you've said that you think that what atheists are on about is saying that people who believe in religion, that's just all crap and you can just get rid of it and I win because I'm a scientist and I use reason. That's not the argument that we use. Scientists, I'm a scientist, I've even been on TV. I can give a lecture on cosmology to a 500-person audience and hold their attention for a long time. I do have some experience in teaching as well. So I just think it's unfair to characterize us as killjoys. And so, if you would, please don't characterize atheists as such.
You people are very
I'm just repeating back to you what you said.
No.
We can rewind the camera if you like.
Do you know what experience I have with people absolutely misunderstanding, not getting the point of what's being said on television? How what they get is what they want to get? Do you know how we pre-select and choose our interpretation of what's being said?
That wasn't my question.
No. My argument with you is absolutely atheists are everywhere on television. Everywhere. They do not wave the banner of atheism because that's not why they are there. For some reason, you feel that what you want is people who define themselves as such, label themselves as such, and are as such invited to be part of discussions.
What I think most of us in this room would actually prefer, I mean, again, I don't believe the sentence that you just said, so perhaps I can say what I believe is true rather than what I don't believe is true, because we can argue all night about what we don't believe in. But I think that what people in this room would rather like to see is a representation of the views that we have thought about very carefully, consider to be very important, and equally as important as the view of Catholicism on stem cell research, the view of free inquiry and so forth. And perhaps atheist is not the right label to go with marketing ourselves to trying to pitch to you to represent our views. But if you're going to ask a Catholic priest what they think about death issues, why not ask an atheist? Because asking the Catholic priest is no more reasonable than asking an atheist.
We actually, we're planning also programs on aging and dying in the fall on the agenda. And obviously, I'm very much interested in the discussion about what's the best way to die. And I'm quite sure that there will be people on this program who will bring to discussion an attitude that is completely, utterly irreligious. But they will not be on this program because they're atheists, because they call themselves atheists.
But
that's not why they're going to be on.
I appreciate the explanation. What makes me confused, and perhaps this is just the single most, simplest way to put the confusion out there, is to say, why won't you ask an atheist if you will ask a religionist? That's, I think, part of the confusion. Why ask a religionist? What have they got to offer? They've just got a theology to bring to the table.
What they will say is that there's a virtue in suffering. Okay? That's what they will say. There's a virtue in not committing suicide and not being in favor of euthanasia. They will say that you know, that God gives and God takes away, and this is a view.
That all might be true, but ask an average Bangladeshi, you know, do they believe that God wants us to suffer? Well,
okay, we're gonna have to wrap this up.
Well, I mean, Bangladeshis do not often.
Excuse me, everybody.
Yes.
This gentleman is going to be posing the last question since it's 9 o'clock already, and we need to wrap this up. So sorry about anybody else who had any more questions. And could you please keep it short? And,
Yeah, I'll make it
thank
really
you.
short. I watched your program on Tuesday evening with Chief Bacon, and I was really impressed. You had three little nut bars sitting on the left, and you have Mark Stein sitting in another room. Now, the whole thing seemed like a setup to me, in the sense that Mark Stein said, they don't want to debate me. I mean, there's some conspiracy here. Yet, I think about halfway through the program, he walked over there, and the whole thing seemed like a setup. Was it a setup, or was it actually spontaneous, as it was supposed to be?
When you say setup, what do you mean by setup?
Well, a setup in the sense that it was scripted that way.
No.
It was not scripted.
No, you have no idea. Yeah, I was a producer of that show, so it was a very difficult show to bring together because there was a back and forth between the two parties. I mean, the two opposing parties about who's going to be on first and who's going to be a second, and it was changing throughout the day. I mean, there was an ongoing. I've never produced as difficult program as that one, having to contend with the interest that Stein brought to bear, and the unwillingness of the three law students to engage in discussion. It's only in the process of as the program was unfolding, then when Mark Stein issued a challenge to the students, why won't you debate me? That they have agreed on the spot that once they are given the same amount of time to speak, that after that he can join them in discussion. It all happened. Never in the history of Policy Agenda has there been as live a show as that one. Everything happened live.
Great. Okay, thank you.